So good afternoon. It's 2:04. We're going to call the Victoria County Council meeting to order for May 30th. And just prior to that, we want to make sure that we acknowledge this meeting is being held in Unama'ki, one of the 7 traditional districts of the Mi'kmaq in the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. So with that, the agenda has been circulated to you. Just want to make a very short change that we're going to kind of reverse our order a little bit. And Donnie McCauley and Bill Stevens are here, and they're going to do a presentation, or they were here on behalf of the Bedeque Library Society or Bedeque Historical Society. So we're going to move them up in the agenda, and then they'll be followed by Recreation Active Living presentation by Lydia Kerr, and both parties are in agreement. So is there anything else, any other changes to the agenda? Please note that we have an in-camera session. So at the end of council, we'll be going in camera for a few moments. So with that, with the noted change, we have a motion to accept the agenda as circulated with the noted changes. Moved by Councillor McNeil, seconded by Councillor McLeod. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion's carried. And I think our first item up is, just before we get there, we had a budget meeting this morning from 10 a.m. to 1:30. There are a couple of motions that have been asked to be approved from that meeting. So the motions are as followed. There are 3, so we'll do individual motions for each of the 3, or individual approvals for each of the motions. So the first motion is to approve the 2020
I make the motion to move the budget.
date August 1st, 2022. So we need a motion to that effect, please.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Horgan. Do we have a seconder, please? Second by Councillor McNeil. All in favor? Contrary minded? The motion has been approved. The third and final motion is to accept a recommendation from the Budget Committee to approve community grants for 2022-23, some pending follow-up totaling $255,000, $700, and property tax relief totaling $51,114. So we have a motion for that effect, please. Moved by Councillor McLeod, seconded. Councillor Longo, all in favor? Contrary minded, motion is carried. And our financial motions have been looked after for this afternoon. The next item up on the agenda is would welcome Bill Stevens and Donald McCauley from the Bedeque Library Society, and I'd ask you to come forward and I think both you gentlemen are familiar with your mic. You just have to press on the button, and when it turns green, it means it's on. If it's on red, it's not. So welcome to council, and please have a seat. Yes, sir.
You're on now? No, it's green. Good? Okay. Thank you for having us this afternoon. My name is Donnie McCauley and Bill Stevens, and Margot McCauley is here today as our booster. Anyway, we're here representing the Victoria County Archives and Museum, was a group that was started about 50 years ago under the sponsorship of the Breck Public Library Board. And students were hired to go around the county collecting materials, and that was safely stored in the old post office, which then had to be moved up to the library after that building was deemed to be unsafe for use. So it had been there for a few years, and then about, I'd say 10 years ago, we asked Joan McGinnis about whether or not she would be interested in having it up here, so we took it up here on loan. The collection consisted of diaries, photos, portraits, newspaper clippings, different write-ups pertaining to this county. Anyway, so we were quite happy with that. Joan was a very enthusiastic and devoted member of this community and an employee of the county for a long time. But we decided that perhaps when we heard that some of the stuff was going to be moved over to Iona, that perhaps what we had loaned should be kept. So, having said that, that's pretty much our position, and I think most of the councils have spoken to objections. So anyway, that's it. While I'm here, I'm just going to pass those cards that put in a plug in the Midsummer Music series that's going to take place starting June 10th. The performers are a cellist, Catherine Little, and Jeff Meyer. Catherine Little started, understand.
Well, thanks, Donnie, and I just ask you to speak into the mic, please. Sorry, no, just, yeah. Well, that was timely. So,
This is going to have the notes and everything's on the back of the information of the tickets and location.
And is this a fundraiser for your historical society?
No, it is not. It's a separate group that we're members of.
so thank you, Donnie. We will. I just want to clarify, just because I know that, so we know we made the decision to transfer a lot of the historical documents, including yours, to over to the Highland Village, and I know you had a conversation. So when you say you want, is your expectation that you leave them here in this building?
Yeah, that it not go over to Iona, that we do it here, like take the, rather
Okay.
than have to go over there.
Yeah. So I just look for clarification.
Rodney has no objection to it.
Okay, any questions about the request? because we did make a motion saying we were going to keep them here, transfer them over there. And our expectation was they have an archivist over there and that you would go through the stuff or through the materials there. And our concern was that if, once we sent it over there, it would be under their watch. There would be an archivist there and you would take your materials just so we wouldn't have anybody else coming in. And so you physically want to leave your documents here. So you'd have to go through them, sort them, and see what's yours. So, okay, I'm going to turn
There was a
over.
Word file that came with it when it came up here.
So I'm just going to give council a couple of questions, and I know Leanne has a question, so I just want any questions from council?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Just one question.
And make sure your mic's on, please, council.
And, no, I know you have been talking to Rodney. Rodney got in touch with me too about the situation. Would you have that completed by the time they're ready for the other materials over in Iona? Because that's the only,
We can, sure.
yeah, I think it would.
I'm not
if
sure.
That's the case.
I don't know when they expect to open their new building. Is it in July? maybe?
Yeah, my understanding is between July and August, they'll be looking at getting the materials over there. So.
Questions from council? Yes.
I just assume that Joan would know all material probably, because she's worked here and,
I would imagine.
yeah, so she doesn't get involved like. all-
Well, no, she moved to PEI and she was gone before we even knew that she was
Um,
gone, because it just happened so quick.
Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions? Leanne, do you have a question or comment?
So I just have a comment. So I was talking to Donnie. Your councils met with Highland Village and decided that everything should go to the Highland Village because they have somebody who knows what they're looking at, as we don't. I don't think council want to accept the liability if something goes missing that is not to come out. However, we also were speaking with the Highland Village. When they plan on coming in July, they will allow your group to be in with them so that things won't leave, but they will be here to supervise that as well.
Well, I
So,
think we are quite capable of supervising that ourselves as well, because we've been handling the materials for a number of years and have a good idea of what material belongs to us. And
I have no question that you do know what is yours, but we don't know what is yours. So I'm thinking on behalf of council who made the motion that it should go to be separated out and be taken back. We haven't allowed anyone in that office space down there since Joan has been gone to touch any of these things. And we just feel that to protect our own liability of something going missing, by all means, Highland Village is happy to have you there when they're here.
yes, well,
Yeah.
I spoke to Rodney and he said that that they have no objections to us taking the stuff. I assume it's going to be when they're ready to move.
Correct. But
But it's going to
we're,
be here in this building. It's not going to be over there.
correct. But that will be when they are here doing that, because we don't have staff to supervise that, what's happening, what will be happening down there in that space. So we're open to both groups going in there at the same time, as long as Highland Village is overseeing what's going on.
The other part to it, Donnie, we've had at least one other organization that has materials there as well. And then we didn't allow them in either. So you're okay with if once our archivist comes over here, that you meet with them downstairs and you can sort through it right there? And then you don't, well, if you're good with that, we're good with that. So, and it's just for continuity so that there's three parties there and people can see what you got is yours. They know what they gave you is yours, and somebody can't come back and say that there's something is missing because somebody else was present and others weren't. So it just protects us from that as well.
Yeah,
And-
as long as we know too, when they're going to be here.
Yes. We can assure you, we'll give you that information. We'll let you know. And who should be the contact, you or
Sure. Bill,
Okay.
me.
either or? Yeah, we'd be more than happy if we can get it out of the building. And it saves them trucking it over to to Iona, then we're happy with that.
Okay.
Does that sound like a reasonable resolution? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So our next item up to council this afternoon is, we have Lydia Kerr is here with a municipality. She's Recreation Active Living. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Lydia. Welcome to council. And I don't know if you have a presentation that you'll be doing.
If you want to drop down and do some push-ups, Fraser, I would welcome that.
Okay, we're just waiting for Lydia to key up her presentation.
I'm not going to go through, I've kind of been asked to give a review of the active living strategy, just a broad view. So I'm not going to go through the whole strategy because I think you're all pretty familiar with it. You were all part of council when it was finalized and presented on, but I just wanted to bring up a few of the main priorities that we kind of set out to achieve in an ongoing state through the active living department. And I guess I'll just touch on how, interestingly enough, we went through a pandemic not long after this was developed. But surprisingly, I don't think we were impacted that negatively as far as the strategy goes. I think our communities have been incredibly resilient. And I think the main goal of this strategy was to remove barriers for people who have less access to physical activity opportunities and those who are less active. And I think a lot of those people with less access and who are less active really increased their activity during the pandemic. And a lot of more unstructured activity was taken advantage of during the pandemic. So although there were, of course, many issues that came about during that time, like access to facilities and just the social aspect of active living, I think we did pretty well. So I think we were able to move forward with a lot of these goals. Awareness and information is the first one that we'll touch on. And I think in collaboration with the tourism department and multiple other internal departments, we did a lot of community engagement in the past year and a half through some of our placemaking projects and now moving into our accessibility work, which is a goal we'll touch on. But that has been really important to informing the initiatives that we've been implementing, I think across all departments really, but especially through my own as well. Communications has been huge for promoting events, not just ones that are put on through the municipality, but ones that are taking place throughout all of our communities within Victoria County. And I would love to see this grow as a priority. So it's always a priority to educate and make our residents aware. But I think we could really move forward with this in collaboration with communications department to create some sort of a strategic plan to really promote the different organizations and programs and events that do take place all across the county, because there's wonderful things happening that I don't think people always are aware of. So I would love to work towards promoting that a little bit more. And surveys were very popular during the pandemic, but they have also really helped to inform a lot of initiatives on quite a few different topics. So again, with our placemaking, our accessibility, we had the province offer some funding for us to implement a citizen survey, which was it was a interesting topic for some people. It went pretty deep, but we did get a lot of good information out of that survey. I think we'll continue to offer opportunities through those surveys. I think it's a great way to engage our communities without having to really go out and find accessible spaces to hold events. People can now do that from home. So partnerships and collaboration, this is ongoing. We're a unique municipality. We have quite a few one-person departments, so our capacity is a little bit limited, but I think it really gives us an opportunity to collaborate with local organizations and other levels of government, as well as our own internal departments. So I think a lot of the things that we work on individually in our departments, we need the support of our coworkers in order for things to get off the ground, and I think we do that really well. So not giving myself a pat on the back, but just the way that we are able to collaborate within the municipality, I think has really done wonders. Also, funding partnerships have been really important in order for us to implement certain programs. So CCH or CCTH has been a great resource. They have allowed us to access active communities funding, recreation community development funding, gender equity. We've received some funding from ACOA. So it's a priority for us to continuously be applying for funding in order for us to work on our infrastructure, work on our programming. And I think without that funding, a lot of our projects just wouldn't be possible. And a lot of our partnerships are obviously through internal municipal funding. So the Active Living Department funds a lot of organizations to help support their programs. And I think that that's a way that we can just always stay connected with those organizations. And I'm hoping that by removing some barriers to the application process, that this process is easy for organizations to access. I know that a lot of provincial and federal funding streams, their proposals are not always the easiest to complete, and that creates a lot of burnout for organizations. So at least by having a streamlined application process within the municipal level, hopefully some of those barriers are removed. And access and inclusion. I think this is a lens that we're all trying to apply to the municipality as a whole. We have recently started some accessibility advisory work to assess our own municipal facilities and programs and services. But I think this is something that we're going to have to take on for years to come and apply it to everything that we do. So in the past year and a half or so, we have received some accessibility funding through the province to we've purchased a couple of Moby chairs and Moby mats in partnership with Parks Canada that are now accessible to both visitors and residents. And just this year, we purchased 2 trail chairs that we hope to be able to use on our trails in the future as well, but they will be accessible shortly through parks as well. And I'm sure more information will go out about that. But we're trying to broaden the definition of what access and inclusion really means. So it's not just making a building accessible or somebody able to come in and make a payment easily. It's also offering opportunities that are fun and, leisure activities that we don't normally think about. So I think we need to broaden that definition, and I think we're moving in the right direction. So that work will certainly continue. And then into infrastructure, which obviously we will take that accessibility lens as well. But a few of the major projects that we've been working on are trail development and placemaking, as well as our community garden in the back here, which we're updating at the moment. But placemaking has gone really well. We've begun to develop a space in Dingwall to offer a range of activities related to recreation. And we're embarking on another project in partnership with Parks Canada and Ingonish Development Society at a space in Ingonish. And lastly, during our strategic priorities meeting, I believe it was last year, we were all assigned a couple of priorities for our departments, and green initiatives was something that I had kind of committed to. And we have been working to develop a partnership with ACAP Cape Breton as they are looking to expand their programs and services a little bit further outside of the CBRM. So we are working on bringing them in to do a couple of programs. So hopefully we'll see that happen. And Public Works has brought in a clean foundation intern this year, which is really great. So again, just keeping an eye on any funding proposals that are related to any of these priorities and working to move it all forward. But I'd be happy to welcome any questions or suggestions, or if you have any priorities that you think should be added to this work.
Thank you very much for the update. Appreciate it, Lydia. And I think we will open it to some questions and perhaps start with Councillor Patterson. Any questions down there in your new seat, sir?
Thank you, Warden. When Lydia sat down, she said I had to do push-ups, but I didn't. Anyway, Lydia, congratulations on all the work you've done. And I'm just thinking that the walking group you have at Dana Lake, I have an inside source there. And not only is physical activity beneficial, but it's also the social nature of these activities. And, I think we tend to forget that sometimes. People enjoy that. So anyway, it's good to see all the initiatives you have been working on or have worked on, and keep up the good work, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McNeil.
Thank you, Lydia, for the presentation. Like Councillor Patterson said, you did a great job, and I think the collaboration part with the organizations is very important. And like you said, the streamlining of the applications to a number of organizations over in my district said that it's much easier to find the application to begin with than just one application. So it makes it easier for them to get the money. So
I'm glad to
job.
hear it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McNeil. Councillor McDonald.
Yes, thank you, Warden. Thank you, Lydia, for the update. Your work is paramount, excuse me. Just with the placemaking sessions, how well that was received in Dingwall and the organizations, the non-profits in District 8, they just, I hear great things. It's Lydia this, Lydia that. So it's good to hear that, and keep up the good work.
Great.
Thank you.
Councillor Jackie Organ.
Hi, Lydia. Have you ever been talking to the Neils Harbor New Haven Development Association about the property in New Haven where the old Legion was, to develop that into something for recreation? Or
No, there was a group, I believe it was Victoria County Home Support, that was talking about where the memorial is there.
That's
Is that
it.
what you're talking
Yeah.
about? They did apply for an ACOA fund last spring, I believe, and it wasn't granted, but that was identified as a possible placemaking space, I believe, in one of our sessions. And even just through those conversations, knowing that the community would like to see something happen there. So that's good information to have. And I think if Home Support or any other organization that's interested in trying to move some of that work forward wanted to meet and talk about a possible partnership to go forward to leverage some funding, I think that would be a good outdoor area. I think New Haven does great as well with the space that they have at the Comfort Center there. I'm really pleased
Very
with
busy.
that space. It's amazing. But yeah, any group that would like to chat about possibly moving forward with an application that they're aware of, I would be happy to talk about that.
okay, thank you.
Councillor Longva.
Thanks for your presentation, Lydia, and I've been on several of your hikes that you organized with your active living, and they've been great. And the Indian Brook placemaking is coming along nicely. They started, there's been a lot of dirt hauled in and trees planted, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McLeod.
Thank you, Lydia, for the presentation and the update. We work very good with some organizations here around. Just about the Clean Foundation, I know you say they're hiring somebody, what he or she is going to do? Do you
Yeah,
have any
so
idea?
Kelly actually brought in this intern through Clean Foundation. I believe she's a public health student. I think she just finished her first year, and she's going to be doing quite a few different things out at Public Works. But Kelly and I are hoping to possibly collaborate on a few shoreline cleanups, things where she can kind of collect data on what type of trash is found in the area. And I don't know if Leanne can speak to any other initiative she's working on out at Public Works.
I think that's it so far, but we're going to hope to have her look into the diversion re-education or putting a program together for that as well. So
Yes, she was going to be meeting with some businesses and talking to them as well about any issues they're having with waste.
re-education.
And yeah.
Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lydia, for the update. And really, I appreciate it. And I very much want to compliment you on your role within the active living program in Victoria County. I very much support it personally. So I'm glad to see that it's continuing and continuing to flourish. So just a couple of quick questions while I have you here, and also want to note about your trail development as well, and some of the improvements we've made through some of the funding that you've been able to access for us, particularly around cross-country skiing and some of the winter trails that not everybody sees people out there, but I can tell you that there's a lot of people that are participating, both north and south, and a lot of people don't see them participating because of just the remoteness sometimes of where those locations are. I know this morning we talked about in our budget deliberations of a new playground in the deck. I'm not sure if you've been on the periphery of that, but have you, has anybody approached your expertise on that?
I've heard little tidbits of information that there is a group who received some funding to work on, I'm not sure if it was a playground or the tennis courts or what that initiative entails, but I'm always happy to know, be informed about what's going on, and however I can support, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, and if it's okay with you, that the next time we have a conversation with them, just to make sure they're aware of some
I
of the
never
assets we
have,
have.
but if you would like to put them in contact with me, that would
Definitely
be
will.
great.
Definitely will. No, again, thank you very much. It's a living document. We expect it to continue. And I just want to, before we move on, I just want to ask Leanne if she had any questions or comments for Lydia.
Well, I'm in constant contact with Lydia, so
She's sick of it.
Good.
but maybe if you just want to mention what's happened so far with the volunteer awards as well, or the
Oh,
volunteer group?
yes, they were sent out, the deadline for volunteer recognition was sent out on Friday afternoon. We sent them a thank you card, thanking them for the work that they do within their communities. I believe we had 7 or 8 nominations. I think 2 of them were groups, but we did send out a gas card as well, knowing that it's a rough time with fuel costs and that it's something that everybody can probably use. So those were sent out, and it was voted on or scored by council that Ryan Costello with the English Development Society has been nominated for the Provincial Volunteer of the Year Award. So thank you to Ryan, if you're listening or anybody's listening, for all the work that you do with the fire department and the Development Society and the Hucklebuckle Festival. And I hope I'm catching everything there, but yeah, and just to speak very briefly to volunteers, that we're having a lot of issues in many of our communities with recruiting and retaining volunteers. So that is something that I hope to work through this year, as well as finding some ways to incentivize volunteering and hopefully build up a bit more of a base there for communities. So.
And I just would be remiss if we're successful in getting a new recreation facility in southern Victoria County. It's certainly an asset that we could offer to them as well with the new building, new programs, or be new opportunities, I think, for the municipality and particularly in your role. So just kind of ask you to keep an eye open for that as well. So
I will keep my eye out.
very good. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments before we move on? Yes, Councillor McNeil.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is National Accessibility Week as well. So we welcome everybody to wear a red shirt on Wednesdays and yeah, just try to keep a lens of accessibility every day, but especially this week.
Very good. And I should mention too, I'm glad you brought that up because we just formed an accessibility committee in Victoria County, and Lydia is a great resource to us. We're just up and running. Our membership is going. We are starting a plan, and we're having part of the open houses of the last week or so. So we want to acknowledge and thank you for your participation in
We'll
that
be
as
in
well.
Middle River tomorrow, 4:30 to 6, and Bedeck from 7 to 8:30.
Great.
And on Thursday, we're in Ingonish in the afternoon and Indian Brook in the evening. And then we end in Iona, I believe, on the 7th at 4:30. So please come and give your opinions and on accessibility in your communities, whoever might be listening, we'll be there.
And those locations in Middle River is at the hall,
The hall in Middle River.
and
yeah.
the one in Bedeck is at the
Knox.
Knox Church
Yep.
Hall. So
Yep.
good.
Perfect.
Thank you for bringing that up, and we appreciate it. Well, thank you very much for your report, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on now to the minutes of the council meeting for April 25th. The minutes have been circulated to you. You've had a chance to review them. Are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? If there are no errors or omissions, may we have a motion to accept the minutes as presented, please? Moved by Councillor McLeod, seconded by Councillor McNeil. All in favor? Contrary minded, motion is carried. Should have mentioned at the onset of the meeting that Deputy Warden is not in attendance today. He sent his regrets early this morning. Not feeling that well today, so he's not attending. He did not attend the budget session this morning, nor did he attend, will be attending this afternoon, so we hope he's feeling better soon. So my apologies for not mentioning that earlier. Any business arising from the minutes of April 25th? We're good. Thank you. We're going to move on to the CAO's report, please.
Thank you. It's no longer a point on the agenda because we've made some council changes on there for the agenda. You know, the business arising.
Yeah, no, it's just a question.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, okay, so we'll get into the CAO report. Just want to give you a few different things that are going on. So one of the changes that we're going to start to implement is ideally we're going to have a department head or a member from different departments come to council and give a little update or more of an in-depth update of what they're working on. So we'll be rotating that throughout council sessions. So just a few items that are going on. Some of the things that you've asked me to report on. Heavy garbage has been completed. It was started May 9th. It was completed about a week to 8 to 10 days in. Thanks to all of our staff and our contractors. I'm not sure if everyone knows that it's not actually our collections people that go out. It's the rest of the staff out in Public Works that go and do it. I believe that they really love Heavy Garbage Week. And they do a great job at it. So congratulations to all of those and to our contractors. What was that? Sorry. As Lydia noted, we've had some open house sessions so far. We have 3 down, 5 to go for this week and 1 next week. They're related to accessibility advisory, they're related to the municipal boundary review, and they're related to the local improvement charge bylaw proposal that we are working on. So once we're done with those, we'll bring back anything that we hear at any of those sessions. And thank you to the council that have gone out. And One thing that I noted from last week coming back, which was really great, coming from Cape North, noticed a bunch of garbage bags on the side of the road. There was garbage collection that happened, or garbage cleanup in the ditches. And there were several bags, and there were several people that were out doing that. So congratulations to the volunteers and local residents that were out doing that. It was great to see. Larry had a question on some Ingonish land that we're looking to have some updates or survey done on. We were still waiting on property online. There was issues with property online. It was down last week. So once we get a PID updated on there, we're going to move to the next stage, do a title search of it. So I don't really have any news to give him on that piece. Our reuse center on Saturday was unfortunately closed. The group that was supposed to be there, there was a bit of a miscommunication, and they did not have a group and can't go in there for the next 2 weeks. So we've made alternate arrangements. So there will be other groups, different groups that were picked that didn't get picked on the first round, and they will be in there. So it should be back open this Saturday coming. Larry had a question on the solar speed signs. As of right now, they're a little bit cost prohibitive, but he is still going to look at the one that maybe he's looking at a different one than what I had quoted, or that I got quoted from Public Works, Department of Public Works. So we'll see where that goes. Perla, you had a question on the babysitting courses. So Schools Plus are arranging to do those through the schools.
Yeah,
So
they
Lydia
contact
will be
now.
working with them, and there'll be information coming out on those. We heard back from NSLC on the street name change here in town for changing the name of the street to Jesse Wong Drive. NSLC is okay with that, so we're waiting next steps to see what has to happen next from TIR related to that. And we had a council here, our last council session, I believe, with Eastern District Planning was here with an unsightly premises complaint. They've reported back that that property has been since cleaned up, and the order, they did not have to follow through with their order. So a couple of things that have been going on in some other departments that we're working on. So in communications, we have an accessibility page now on our website that is up and running. So if anyone is interested in anything related to that and the survey that we are conducting, it is available online on our website on its own page. We're also doing several social media campaigns. So keep checking our Facebook page, our website, and news that we have coming out related to several different things that we're working on. One of those being the commercial waste tags, which we had as a concern last year. Thought it would be a concern for whenever our local businesses got busier and wasn't able to travel to our transfer sites. So those commercial waste tags are available, and there's information on our website on how to get them, and they are available at all of our locations. We also have household hazardous waste advertisements going on, which I'll speak about in Public Works also, but we're trying to promote household hazardous waste. Hopefully all council are doing that as well, because it's kind of it's a really expensive program, and it's hopefully a use it or lose it. Hopefully we're going to use it and get rid of all of our products that could be hazardous in our household. We also we recognize this is Accessibility Week. Wednesday of this week, Wednesday, June 1st, is Red Shirt Day. We are asking everyone to wear a red shirt. I'm just going to read a little piece of what that means. Red Shirt Day of Action and Accessibility and Inclusion is a day when people across Canada come together and wear red in schools, workplaces, and spaces everywhere in order to create a visible display of solidarity, to show their support for people and families who are living with disabilities, celebrate the achievements of people living with disabilities, and to pledge their commitment to help create a fully accessible and inclusive society that honors and values the contributions of people of all abilities in all aspects of life in Canada. So the action that we're asking on that one is to wear a red shirt to work or play. on Wednesday, June 1st. So in our finance department, as you all know, we had budget meetings today. Thank you for your input into those, and we passed some motions to pass our budget and our tax rate at the beginning of this session. We are also working on a water rate study, and it is progressing, and we will be asking the consultants on our water rate to be coming to council to give an update on where they are at. Unfortunately, our audit and budget committee member is leaving, and he's been invaluable as a member of our audit committee. So we will be putting out some asks to the public to have a new audit committee member on a go forward basis. Oh, Graham Steele. Yep. Right, yeah. So he's been great, and we thank him for his work. Our tax sale ad was in the Cape Breton Post last Saturday, and I'll be speaking on taxes in a little, no, I won't be, since we took that out. So I'll give you just a little piece of update on that. Our upcoming tax sale is scheduled for June 21st, 2022 at 2 p.m. It's by public auction, which means it's live in person. It's at the Inverary Resort Macaulay Conference Center, 368 Shore Road in Bedeck. We have, as of right now, we have 36 properties that will be at that. The ad was in the Cape Breton Post on May 21st and will be in again on June 18th. So that is related to tax sales. Lydia gave her update in tourism. So in Dan's department, tourism, placemaking, trails. He's been helping on a winter market readiness report. And that report is being finalized and will be being released soon. He's also hearing a lot of concerns from operators about customer service, food, and reduced hours, which I'm sure you're all hearing also from the operators around the trail and around all of Cape Breton. He says he's hearing from a lot of places, a lot of not-for-profits that have several jobs that are available right now for students and for young adults. So encourage any students and young adults that are actively looking. There are several jobs that are available. We want to congratulate the organizers of the Cabot Trail Relay Race that happened on this weekend. It was nice to see them back and a great Kickstarter to the tourism season. It's a great event to kick it off, and congratulations to all the participants. Just let you know, June 6th, Dan will be hosting a best practice mission from Ontario tourist operators. They'll be here at the municipal building to find out what we're doing so that they can bring some of our excellence up to their areas in Ontario. So that's really good to see. Just a note, we heard a little bit about it earlier at our budget sessions, but there will be a Seawall Trail video coming out soon to show support for the trail, the Seawall Trail Seawall Trail. It's a mouthful, that one. On trail development, a couple of things. The area report for the area that we've been working on is expected to be done by the end of this month. And there are a couple of other area reports that are being needed on a couple of other trails. But our trail work is moving along quite well, and we're pleased with the progress that's been made. In placemaking, Dan has let us know that Iona has received some placemaking funding. So congratulations to them for the work of the community group over there for that. We are also involved in the placemaking down in Dingwall, and there will be a meeting scheduled soon for potential committee members to be on that placemaking committee. And we have also helped with the Marine Park over in Ross Ferry with a community group, as we've partnered up on that for getting some placemaking funding. So hopefully that will be good news as well. In Public Works, so Kelly gave us a bit of an update over there. She's working on a tender for C&D haul. So part of that haul will be hauling things from our departments to CBRM and the back hauling of wood chips. Wood chips are needed for the operations that happen down in our Dingwall site, and we're having a real problem getting wood chips. So we need to source some of those, or else there's going to be some complaints that you're going to start hearing more than likely. So we're working on it, and it always seems to be an issue. So we try to get more than what we need each year, but they are becoming fewer and far between. We also met with the fishing, she also met with the Fishing Coalition, looking at the rope at our sites. That was part of a project that we did maybe last year on one of the projects that we had funding for something to do with fishing rope. So we do actually have a contact from Denmark that is interested in having rope being shipped overseas. But our rope, Kelly said she was schooled on rope. There's several different kinds of rope, and there's different things in the rope. The rope has to be, I think she called it something close to a spaghetti pile right now. So the rope has to be physically undone and put in its own piles before it's ready to be taken. And there can't be any, I think it's copper. No, can't be copper in the wires. There's a metal that if there's any of that, they can't get on the boat. So there's a lot of work that has to go into it prior to it being shipped off, but we're hoping that something can happen with these ropes, because there's very strict shipping guidelines to go. We're working on work at the Bedeck warehouse here. We have a side loader tender, which is closing next week. We're surveying the Ingonish sidewalks to get a tender out on those. Had discussion with Meat Cove on putting up a potential community garbage box down there. So we're trying to look for solutions on that, how that's going to work. Also wanting to promote household hazardous waste, which is happening June 4th in Bedeck and June 5th in Dingwall. Again, it's a use it or lose it. It's extremely expensive. Please get your household hazardous wastes out to those two different locations. As Lydia mentioned, there's a clean leadership intern.
It's on you.
Can I see? Yeah. Also, let you know a couple of things on our water utility. So there was a major water repair that was completed in Dingwall. Apparently it went quite well down there, and fixed, hopefully fingers crossed, fix that issue. The next major one that they're going to work on is a Mountain View Drive. Oh, sorry, not Ocean View Drive. Ocean View Drive needs major attention. The water line has been patched many times. We're going to fix it properly and pave afterwards. And then there's another potential leak up higher on the road. So they're looking into that as well. Okay, so in the senior safety department. So senior safety has been helping with our accessibility advisory committee as well, sort of leading that committee. We had some questions on what actually has to happen to our buildings to make them accessible. And I think we have differing opinions on what has to happen. She's received word back on any buildings that are not accessible right now. They have confirmed with us that updated accessible building code will only be applied to renovations and to new builds. So anything new has to be accessible. Any renovations that you start have to be completely finished with accessibility. So if we started renovations on this building, we'd have to outfit it to meet the new building code, although it's kind of frustrating because the actual new building code isn't even out yet. So we're trying to meet something that we don't actually know what it is we're trying to meet. She said she's met with Maggie McDonald, who is the Inverness County Accessibility Coordinator, and they hope in the future to be working on some things together. She's also working over in St. Anne's area with the seniors lunch on a how-to resource over there, so that hopefully it could be moved around the county for some more initiatives that they're working on. And she's looking into a shared housing initiative. I think it was brought up several years ago by Councillor McGuinness. Possibly it was before that as well. But there may be some interest in starting a shared housing initiative. So she's looking into that for us, and hopefully we'll hear some new things about that. A couple of other things that are going on. Plan Upland. So Upland is the consulting group that is doing our minimum planning standards. They have done their first round, which was, I think, in the heat of COVID. They are now going around to do minimum planning standards open houses. They're doing them the week of June 20th to the 23rd. So please, members of the public, get out to these open houses, have your say in what you are looking for planning standards around the county. As of right now, the only planning that we have is here in the village. So if you are interested at all in what possibly could or couldn't go in any areas, now's your time to get out. Not yet. So they'll be getting that information out soon, and we'll be blasting that media also. I talked for a few council sessions prior to now about a regional EMO exercise that we were involved in. There was Inverness County, Port Hawkesbury, and Victoria County that took part in a regional EMO exercise. We had provincial members that were down here to go through it. It was a good exercise, but based on November, the emergency management that we have in place, it was kind of a walk in the park. They didn't really throw anything at us that we couldn't handle right now. Not saying that there's nothing else that could happen, but thanks to EMO for being here with us for that. Was provincial led. I had mentioned last council session, I think, that I was going to be on the AMAN's executive director interview committee. We have went through the interviews and have made an offer. So hopefully there will be a new executive director replacing Janice Wenzel. Big shoes to fill, but hopefully we'll be announcing that very soon. And just to let everyone know, the Minister Laura has given the village of Bedak, he's updated their ministerial order, and the deadline has been extended. And that's what I have related to those. Related to the expression of interest, I'm working on, so related to this building, I'm working on an RFP to see about getting a real estate agent to work on next steps for what can happen on this building. So I'm working on that expression.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the report. Are there any questions, comments for CAO? It's a very good report, apparently, no questions, so all information was covered. We are going to take a 10-minute recess. It's 3:02, so we're going to recess till 3:12, please.
No, I didn't.
No, anybody else get it? I sent it.
Thank you very much. So we're going to reconvene council. The next item on our agenda are district concerns, and we'll start with Councillor McDonald.
One, just two concerns this evening. One was in regard to the road. St. Mary's Village, it's Central Co-op. Calls from constituents in business itself about the shape of the roadway in the area there. And just reiterate that we did have our discussion with Public Works and that the room funding was increased. If I could just have Mr. McDonald just have a look at that. And then Laurie Bain has also been notified on that. Was one concern. And secondly is with the channel that is dealing in Dingwall. There was a dredging company that had came on in the spring and they took up quite a substantial amount of metal debris out of the channel. It was left in an area that's frequented a lot by youth and families that use that area of the beach for swimming and summer activities. And I was in touch with Mr. McNeil from and said that they were aware of that and they would remove that in a timely fashion. So I just would like the minutes to reflect that. And that will be it for District 8.
Thank you very much, Councillor McDonald. We will now go to Councillor McNeil, District number 1, please.
Thank you, Warden. I would like a letter sent out of thanks to Charlene Ellis's class at Rankin School of the Naris. They did a roadside cleanup through Iona the past week. They did an excellent job. I was sad to see the next day there was garbage along the side of the road again, but I want to commend them on their work. And I will send that to staff. Sorry about that. That's staff. Thank you to the heavy garbage crew. They did an excellent job around District 1, I must say. World Oceans Day is this weekend. It's a whole weekend festivities. Begins at trivia at the pub on Thursday, and then codfish dinner and entertainment at the Legion on Friday. The codfish dinner is sold out already. Beach cleanup and activities on Saturday, plus a dance that night at the Legion, and the big day is Sunday with more activities at the some good news items. It's not the new ferry. Should be working. Should be working tomorrow week. But with that being said, the signage for the Little Mares Ferry is out. People that drive by the signs going to the ferry find it's not working. There are two little signs basically in each place and they're covered with trees. And, can't see. So whether that is or I'll to see the property. And another good news, all the lights on the bridge were. But wasn't there and the power went up. Hopefully they're still working. Just gotta confirm. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And are you going to ask Mayor Brenda to get in touch with Leanne and schedule it, or we'll leave that with you and Mayor Brenda?
Can I also just make one more note related to the beach cleanup? Kelly who has the new intern, is also looking for recommendations of beaches to focus on to do cleanups on. So if you want to get in touch with me, I can pass it on to Kelly, please.
Thank you, Councillor McNeil. Councillor Patterson, anything
Thank you,
second?
Warden. I have a road name request. Steph, I'll give you this when I finish reading it. The present addresses are 10631 Kempton Road and 100629 Kempted Road. So there's two residences on the road. They have all signed it, Patricia Aker, Don Aker, Cherry Aker, and they want to name their road Aker Woods. So I'll pass that on to Steph. I guess I have to make that a motion.
You do have to make that a motion, yeah.
We approve it first, Steph? Council approves it? Okay, so I'd make a motion that we entertain the road name request.
Do we have a second for that motion, please? Second by Council McNeil, all in favor?
All right,
Contrary minded?
just a traffic advisory. If you're driving out the Seal Island Bridge, be on the lookout for deer because they can come from nowhere and cause quite a bit of damage to your vehicle. Let me tell you. Anyway, that's when I left here Friday. So anyway, just be aware. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, and we're glad you didn't get injured in that collision with the deer, sir. The deer got the worst of it. Councilor McNeil, I would just wonder if you would just review your report. Your mic wasn't on, so or there was a technical issue, so people online couldn't hear what you, so if you just redo it, please.
Okay, sorry about that. I'd like a letter, thank you sent to Charlene Ellis's class at Rankin School of Linares for roadside cleanup in Iona. I have to put my glasses back on. Also, a thank you to the heavy garbage crew for the job they did in District 1. World Ocean Day celebration is this weekend. It's a whole weekend of celebration starting Thursday. I think it's World Oceans Day trivia at the pub. Codfish dinner and entertainment at the Legion. Codfish dinner is sold out. Beach cleanup on Saturday and other activities along the port, and dance that night at the Legion. Also, the big day is Sunday with a number of activities going on at the port of Iona, and there'll be entertainment there also. At the last SEPI meeting, Mayor Beaton and Kevin McCachran presented a possibility of an offshore wind project, and I'm just wondering if they would be able to present at council here. Some good news, and like I said before, don't shoot the messenger. New ferry should be up and inspected and going tomorrow evening in Little Nares. And also the signage, with that being said, the signage for the Little Nares ferry is all, when it's down, it's awful. People go to the ferry before knowing that it's down. And I'll be in contact with public works officials to see if that can be rectified. And the lights on the Grand Nares Bridge were all working, so. Thank you, Steph, for all the hard work you've done on that project over the last 2 years, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McNeil. Councilor McLeod.
Thank you, Warren. I would like to, the donation for Safe Grads for the schools is at this time of the year. It's not going to be a Safe Grad like last year, but I wonder if they can send the funding for the schools to cover some costs for the graduations. This is not, to all the schools, yeah, for the grad. And yeah, the bursaries, if they can send the bursaries and for the schools too, please. I'm making a motion later for the Cabotrel Relay and the Lions Club. I put the motion, Councilor Perla McLeod moved to the right a letter to Cabotrel Relay to congratulate them for the excellent organization on one more time. Very proud of the sponsor, be part of this. We are proud to be the sponsors and they can be the ambassador to welcome all the runners to our county. And can I?
For that.
Oh, we make a.
Second by Councilor Longo, all in favor? Contrary minded, motion's carried. Thank you.
And the second letter will be for the Lions Club. Councilor Perla McLeod moved to write a letter to Bedek Lions Club to congratulate them for their volunteer work in our community. Without them, it will be impossible the success of the Cabotrel Relay. I make the motion.
The second for that, please. Second by Councilor Longo, all in favor?
Right.
Contrary minded, motion's carried. Thank you very much.
And Just to remind them, it's going to be the open house tomorrow, Middle River Hall from 4:30 to 6. And in Bedek, in Oaks Church at 7 to 8:30. They will talk about boundary review, accessibility, and local improvement bylaw. So I'm invite all the residents to come because it's very important, and we would like to see people interested in that.
Thank you for that.
And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Longa, your district, please.
Thank you, Warden. Yeah, I'd also like to do a reminder to the public that there is the public meeting in Indian Brook from 7 to 8:30 on June 2nd. And I hope everyone will come out, and it will be about local improvement bylaw, the municipal boundary review and accessibility. And I apologize that I will be away on county-related business, but I hope that everyone will show up and it is your voice. I'd like to thank whoever took it upon themselves to clean up the look-off between the Bedek Bay turnoff and the next turnoff to Bedek. Someone did go there and clean up a lot. I'd also like to make a motion. I, Barbara Longva, would like to give $1,000 from my district budget to the South Haven Community Hall. I think I had mentioned at the last meeting, giving 500, so there's a change there. And now it's a motion, which didn't have to be a motion before. I believe.
Right, $1,000 it is, yeah. We have a seconder for Barb's motion, please. Councilor McLeod, a second, all in favor?
Yes. Mhm.
I'm
And
sorry, moved and seconded? No, we have a seconder, so all in favor, sorry. Contrary minded, motion's carried, sorry.
then with TIR, also there was the road in New Harris. I had complaints from a constituent about the shape of the road, and particularly down by around the Boy Scout camp. And also there's been complaints about a lot of damage to highway signs over the winter. They're either down or badly damaged from the foot of Smoky to Englishtown Ferry and also around the harbor. And the last but not least, I was contacted by the constituent that had asked about having Old Big Harbor Road put on the sign. And we did have Stephen McDonald in and talk to him about that, but I just wanted to put in the minutes that he is looking into that, getting that added to the other sign. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Org.
Just a few things. I had a call for a water bill issue, which was fixed today, and had a call about an old car that dumps do not, transfer stations do not accept them anymore, and he found a solution. Now, I also like to remind everybody that some people put out things for heavy pickup that were not picked up, to please go out and take them off the side of the road. I've noticed some electronics and television sets. So, I mean, please do that. And that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Councillor. No motions from my district, but I too just want to echo the comments of other councillors about congratulating the Cabot Trail Relay, the organizers, the volunteers, and the runners themselves. It's great to see the event back in the municipality, and it's the official start of tourism season, I think, and certainly I think we can be very proud of having that event running here. And I know that a lot of people that come and visit here rave about their experience about going around the trail. So it's great to have it back. One item that kind of came out of that, one of the organizers spoke to me personally, and they wanted to pass along their compliments, particularly to our EMO officer, Lyle Donovan, for his participation. He was excellent in carrying out his duties, and they were very pleased with the service he provided to make sure the relay went safely. So I said I would mention that, Steve. Last but not least, I just want to thank all the residents in Victoria County that participated in No Mow May. And for some, it was extremely difficult. And it was great to see a lot of people participated in that. And I made it till Sunday. And then after that, I had to mow. We're going away this week, so I thought if I came back, I'd need a tractor. So my apologies for being 2 days earlier. But really, I'd like to recognize everybody that participated. And I think that's it for my district concerns. Yes.
I forgot something. I just, council, we have a meeting with DNR, Warren Morrison and I, regarding Ishkabang Falls. We're just conversations about the river trail. So it was just in conversation stage, and I will be meeting again. So I will keep you an update about that.
Very good. Thank you for bringing that up. Are there any motions this evening? Yes.
It's not a motion, but it's something exciting that happened because of No Mow May at my house. So I was out in the yard and I went to move the snow scoop, and underneath it, because we weren't mowing, there was a bird built a nest, and it was like full of eggs, 4 eggs in it. I'm not sure what kind of bird it was. Maybe I'm not really sure what kind of bird, but anyway, it's still there. And apparently it takes 2 weeks, so now I can't mow till like second week of June. That's it.
Good for you. And I'm sure those birds will thank you. Thanks for that, Barb. It's a good story. Correspondence?
So all correspondence has been sent out. However, I'm not sure if anyone saw today, I received a letter from Minister John Lohr related to our request to have them look again at the seasonal adjustment that is done. And he said, thank you for your letter. As you know, the MGA is under review currently, and we will send that to our strategists and policy makers. So that was today's latest one. I'm not sure if you saw it.
So the next item, we have Alex Redden, our CFO, is going to have a short presentation about policy discussion. So thank you, Alex. Welcome to council.
Thank you.
So I have a super short presentation. So we met at a policy bylaw meeting on May 16th to talk about different council policies. So I'm just looking to bring that to council and then get a little direction on the stuff that was outstanding from that meeting. So just to go over the few areas that we discussed. At a high level, it was putting in place council remuneration policy, putting that on paper. There was discussions about travel allowance and travel reimbursement, travel authorization, so who approves council travel, discussions on mileage rate and meal allowances, and then some discussion on when there's appointees to council, by council to committees, how travel is treated for them. So from that meeting, the areas that council made decisions on, there was discussion about when council attends the NSFM and FCM and the parameters around that, clarification on situations for travel cancellation and emergencies. There was some clarification on that I'll put into words. About authorization, it was warden authorizes council travel and the CAO does that in the warden's absence. The decision was made to align the travel rate with the province of Nova Scotia's rate for mileage. Meal allowances, it was discussed no change, but adding timeframes around that just for better clarity about when you're allowed to claim a meal allowance. And just confirming that any appointee of council to a committee would be eligible for mileage reimbursement regardless of the committee. So that was all the decisions that were made. I think we're all still good with those, I hope. The two things that were outstanding was remuneration policy direction and travel allowance versus reimbursement. So I'm just looking for some input on where to go next with these topics. And that's the
So
presentation.
thanks for that. And can we go back to the first one?
Sure.
So, and I just want to make sure we're literally on the same page. So we don't need to get into a long drawn out discussion. I think what staff are looking for, do we want them to proceed with a drafting a policy or position paper on these items? And if we feel it's important, we will ask them to proceed. If it's not for consideration, then we're not. So is that more or less what you're looking for? Would that be a reasonable statement?
I believe it is on the next two.
Okay.
So all those first ones were decided on.
Yeah, so I would like to take all these things and put them into writing into a policy, but I'm only going to do that with.
Yeah.
permission from
Oh,
council.
so are we've had the conversation and we made these decisions. So we're good to ask council to move, or I'm sorry, staff to move ahead with policy on conference attendance clarification for situations of travel cancellation. And again, I don't want to revisit authorization of travel. A lot of this is done anyway. We just don't have any policies to support it. Mileage is to align with the province of Nova Scotia, meal allowance and timeframes, so that speaks for itself. We had that conversation and appoint and receive mileage. And I would think meals if appropriate as well, but for a point.
Right.
Yeah. So are we okay with those, or do we want to proceed?
Sorry, Bruce, I couldn't hear the last thing you said.
The last one, Fraser, just says receive mileage reimbursement, but it would also be a per diem for meals if they were traveling
Yeah.
and or accommodation. So we'll just
Yeah,
make that
That
minor
was
adjustment.
discussed. Yeah.
So are we prepared to move forward with that? Yes, we are. Great. Thank you.
Just a question, reimbursement at the bottom there, because you have that in the next slide too, right? You have travel rate or mileage rate versus reimbursement. So you have here, that'll depend on what we decide. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
that was one of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
outstanding items. This one where it says reimbursement, that was just for public appointees.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Yeah. So the outstanding one's remuneration policy, and we had the discussion around that. Do we want a policy on that? We had a very good conversation around that. So do we want that, Alex, to come back with
Could I
that?
just reemphasize what I said at that meeting, Bruce? If we change our metric payments where they become taxable, it's patently unfair. Because if you're in a higher tax rate, you're going to pay more. And as I mentioned, I think it was 12 years ago or so, two people around this table were sent a bill from CRA for our expenses. I paid it because I didn't want to owe them money, but I also appealed it. I lost the appeal. And when I was talking to the CRA agent that turned it down, I said, well, what about the Tax Court of Canada? He said, you're wasting your time.
And
Tell me that.
I can appreciate
I
it.
won.
Yeah.
For everybody around this table, not just myself, because they were going to tax everybody's mileage.
Yep.
So, that would be, again, as I said at the beginning, that depends on where you are in the tax bracket. If it pushes you into higher, you might lose up to, Alex, you probably more when you're 35, 40%. You wouldn't, 90,000 is the highest rate, I think, isn't it? Yeah,
I'm not a
that's
tax
no,
accountant
anyway.
by any means.
But anyway, it would cost, no matter what the percentage is, it's going to take money out of your pocket.
And again, I understand that, Fraser, and I think what we're looking for is just, it's going to affect everybody differently. Just depends where you're at and what you have. But I think what staff are looking for, do we want to proceed with enumeration policy And so that we have a look at, we're not saying that we're incorporating it, but I think it, do we?
We
is that-
need, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
the
I,
point is though, but I think the point is, why change it if it ain't broke?
yeah, and I think the point being, nobody's saying that we're going to change it, but it's worth
No,
having
no,
a
I
look.
understand. Yeah.
So,
We're
and
having a
it,
discussion
like,
on it, which we should be doing.
it could affect you, but not affect
Yeah.
Norman. So I think
Exactly.
for the greater good, I think it'd be worth, personally, I think
Yeah.
it would be good to look at it. And so are we okay with that? And you can, we can come back with that
So I
as
can
well.
come back with.
Yes,
more
yeah. And then
information
we'll
once
have the
it's-
discussion then, Fraser. Yeah,
Just with a comparison?
Yeah.
You know, give us an idea of what difference, maybe you would have more money, I don't know. But I mean, if you could do a comparison for us, then we could see exactly.
So what Alex is asking here is, do you want her to put the work into looking into these things so that it can be
Yeah.
discussed?
Yeah,
Because we're not
exactly.
going to put the work into it if you're not even going to look at
That's what I'm
it.
saying.
Yep,
That's what I'm
so-
saying. If we have a comparison.
Yep, so we're looking for direction from
Delay,
council.
Plus if there's a change.
Yep, so we're looking for direction from council on if we
Yep.
are to look into these items or not.
right.
They were all
And then,
brought up.
and then when she brings it back, we vote on it and we,
Yeah.
whether we accept it or not, it'll be based on what your preference will be.
Mm-hmm.
And we've identified that we need some policies, particularly around some of this, so far so good, but it's important. We have policies to back up a lot of our actions, so to speak. Travel allowance and versus reimbursement, we will also look at that just strictly from, are there other options there than what we currently have? So are we okay with the providing that as well? Okay, how's that?
Great.
Good.
I'll go
Lot-
forward.
Lots there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and we'll leave it with you. When you are prepared to bring the report back, we'll make appropriate time to, and you can prioritize whatever ones you think are the most important to deal with them. Go from there. Thank you very much. Our next council meeting is June 28th at 2:00. I have this. I apparently have slipped the wrong information. What is the date? June 13th? Sorry. Apparently,
No, it's June 13, but about June 27th to move it to June 28th. Is council is agree with that?
right, so we're moving,
Graduations week,
so we're good, June 13th at 2:00 is our next meeting, and our 27th meeting has been moved to 28th.
at 2:00. Well, they're doing here 27 and the 29 is a grad. It's just prom is at 27 and it's Mary's.
Yeah, you'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll check on if we have to move that date, and we were looking at July 11th, and we're going to move that to July 12th. That's a Tuesday, just because it's a conflict with a couple of people. But anyway, we'll definitely know it's June 13th at 2:00. That one is set, yes.
Is it possible to have the meetings in the evening in the summer?
Did we can have
Because
them whenever.
I'm working.
Yeah, sure.
It's busy, really busy in the summer,
Sure.
especially.
What time would be good? What would be the earliest evening time for you?
Well, one was 5. I mean, I don't expect people to go later than that.
5, okay? Sure, we
Yeah.
can do that. Yep. So would that be on June 11th? Would you like it at 5?
June 13th.
Sorry.
If it's possible, because then I don't have to miss the day.
Anybody opposed to 5:00 on June 11th? 13th?
I have all done for June 13.
What about June 14th? Do June 14th at 5:00. No, at 5. It's because her shop's open, so.
Mhm.
June 14th, 5:00. June 14th, 5 o'clock it is. I'm not going past June 14th. I'm not mentioning any other dates. We have to move in camera, so anybody that's not,
We'll arrange, how about we send it out? The next- put it
we'll notify you the next date of council. We only know it's at 5 o'clock. How's that? So if we'll have to ask the chambers to be emptied, please, except for council and required staff. Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. And we have a seconder for that? Moved by Councilor McNeil, second by Councilor McDonald. We go in camera. We are in camera.